the hour from the hinge of the door, and the bell half rings as if it's too shy to finish its sentence. Porcelain moons make slow orbits on their saucers. You lean into lamplight with honey in your voice, and the bass walks home in stocking feet, careful not to wake the table's old wood. Neon outside mispronounces our future on purpose. Inside we practice lowercase conversations, the kind that stay when capital letters run out of nerve. You stir the weather with a small silver spoon until the air agrees to stay. The piano falls like caramel on the grain, sticky with grace and a little heat. Brushes sweep the floorboards with feathers made of patience. I count your smiles as if they were coins in a velvet purse, not to spend them all at once, but to feel their cool certainty slide through my fingers. You say the night is a coat that fits better when borrowed, and I try it on. Sleeves of steam roll neatly to my wrist. We talk about nothing and find it is a generous country. Its rivers are made of time, its libraries are full of chairs. You press a sugar packet into my palm like a passport. I stamp it with a shy yes. The grinder throws sparks of midnight. A muted trumpet in the corner clears its throat, but decides to wait. A napkin learns cursive and writes our names without asking. I don't correct the spelling. The lamp above us yawns a halo. Apricot forgiving and leaves a warm thumbprint on your cheek. Your laugh is a key that chooses every lock, and suddenly the room has doors. I never notice. One opens to the rain, one to the record's quiet crackle, one to the music between your ribs. If morning knocks, let the bell keep ringing. We'll pay our tab with attention and tip in kind. I want to memorize the grammar of hush, how a comma is a sip, how a period is a breath on the rim, how parentheses are the curve of our hands around heat. You stir me slowly and I do not spill. I promise to be a cup with a faithful handle. The needle bows, the record turns, we start again. Not from the beginning, but from where the sweetness lives. When you look down, the moon has parked itself in your mug, silver and obedient. You lift it and both of us glow. Somewhere a taxi changes its mind. Somewhere shoes ride commas in rain. Here tiny ships of steam cross from my mouth to yours and return with news. The tide is on our side tonight. Keep me near the saucer shore. Name me cream or cinnamon or quiet. Anything you can taste after the last word has cooled. Sip me slowly, love. I'll stay warm for you. This velvet mug at 2 a.m. A small bright room we carry home in our throats.
We sketch a friendly city on paper circles, avenues of cinnamon and chrome that feather at the edges. Where coffee drifts, the coaster becomes a map of could be. You draw bridges where your laugh crosses my doubts. Piano places windows in the dark and lights them kindly. Bass leans its shoulder to the door, so nothing hurried slips in. Vinyl crackles salts the air like a memory with good manners. You ask what street I would live on if the city were real. Apricot Lane, I say, where lamps learn to forgive. You're not like a metronome that has made peace with time and underlined the curve with a fingertip. A muted trumpet, patient as a lighthouse, lifts a small circle of gold on the painted wall. A moth practices a waltz without being taught. We miss the last train deliberately. The clock shrugs in approval. The barista forecasts, lingering with a chance of blush, and slides 2 cups to us, each the temperature of trust. We talk about doorways that waved us in and out, careers we almost chose, rain we didn't mind. The city on the coaster grows alleys for our questions, gardens for our second drafts. You label a tiny square, tomorrow if kind, and I draw a bench inside it. We argue gently about where to put the river, then decide the river can decide. Outside, tires write cursive rain along the curb. Inside, your voice prints in a generous serif I recognize from letters I never sent. If the tab grows long, pay me in glances. I'll tip the quiet heavily, a gratuity of noticing, a bonus of breath. My hands smell like espresso, a new resolve. I want to believe that ink can hold what the hour can't carry. That when the coasters are clear, the map will cling to our pockets anyway. So I fold the paper city and tuck it near my pulse, leaving one corner showing in case we need directions later on the way out. We stand in the doorway the way a page stands in a book, willing to turn, happy to linger. You draw one last line, connecting your shoulder to mine, and it fits so well. I suspect the map planned this all along. If anyone asks how to get to now, we'll show them the stain shaped like a heart, the street where laughter lives, the bridge you drafted over everything I feel. Ink on coasters, promises on napkins, the night signed both of us, and the signature glows when it rains.
Our table is an atlas with coffee brown seas and sugar archipelagos. Crumbs lift like small mountain ranges with names only we can pronounce. You tilt the saucer like a compass, and the spoon points to north, which tonight is the way your sleeve folds when you laugh. We chart currents of steam between us, slow and benevolent, and draw dotted lines for where the piano will carry us. If we let it, triangle whispers, tide marks along the rim. The bass sets longitude in the floor. We stamp our passports with nods and inside jokes. I rename the napkin gulf of maybe of the hour, there is a place called Linger that borders a country called Stay. The crossing is easy when the barista turns the record, and the crackle becomes a soft border we love to cross. Outside, umbrellas go to work like friendly beetles. Inside, we prefer slow cartography, the kind that measures a room by the patience in its chairs, that gauges depth by how far a look can travel without hurrying. You draw a river that begins under my collarbone and empties gently into your palms. I draw a tiny harbor at your wrist and ride safe in all weather. When it's time to fold the atlas, we crease it carefully along lines that keep our countries adjacent. I tuck the map into my coat, you tuck your hand into mine. We step into the street with a compass that points not north but toward the nearest soft light. The city's real map can manage its own sharp angles. Ours is small, accurate where it matters, generous where it can be. Should anyone ask where we're headed, we'll say to the cafe we already found, which is another way of saying wherever this kindness leads.
Your laugh rustles like taffeta in a backroom mirror, and the metronome blushes to keep up. We count the sugar, 1, 2, maybe, and let 3 arrive. Fashionably late, clad ties, balls on the corners of night, while bass measures the hem of our hush. The barista pins a velvet moon to the curtain. The clock loses track of its thread and doesn't mind. I try on a joke that fits better than expected. You pin it with a look that says don't move, this is perfect. The room becomes a tailor with soft hands. We hem the hour with quiet stitches, a blind stitch here of patience, a ladder stitch there of grace. Brushes sweep confetti from the snare into neat galaxies. We give them names and promise to visit. Outside, taxis rattle like boxes of pins inside. Shoes learn to whisper, you adjust the collar of my worry, and it lies flatter, newly behaved. If time taps our shoulders, we'll spin and say after you. I press a seam of light along your sleeve with my palm. The fabric remembers and keeps the crease. The piano snaps and releases little darts of brightness through the weave. Clarinet sighs a ribbon across the ceiling fan. Slow halo. We practice walking as if we're already dancing. The floor approves, forgiving our steps before we take them. I tell you the best outfits have pockets for secrets. You show me yours, a folded compliment, 2 ticket stubs to a concert we left before the encore, a thimble of courage you don't need tonight. You slip the thimble on my thumb anyway. For when the needle of the world looks sharp, you say, and I nod, puncture proof for a moment. Closing time clears its throat. We pretend it's part of the song. The metronome stops blushing and simply glows. We gather the thread of our talk, wind it around a spool labeled key, and tuck it where we'll find it later. Outside, the night has dressed itself well. Dark suit, neat stars, a confident hush. We wear our quiet like it's tailored. Step into the street with shoulders set easy, and everything fits. Tables shine with yesterday's stories, varnish catching constellations of light in the grain. The way a night sky keeps fateful records. Vanilla ghosts drift from the cups and braid with the soft electricity above the espresso machine. You tuck a stray hour behind my ear and tell me to keep it. I agree because the night is generous, and we have not spent all our change of quiet. The guitar combs the air with gentle teeth. The piano lays a napkin over doubt. The bass hums in the rafters like an old elevator that knows every floor is kindness. We inventory the room in whispers. Two lamps with apricot halos, one bell that refuses to hurry, four chairs that learn patience in older houses. Outside, taxis write cursive rain. In here we print them calm block letters. I say I want the world to speak in this font more often. You say we can teach it. One slow sentence at a time. We do not fix everything. We polish what we can. We run a cloth of attention along the moments until they shine without glare. You tell me about a day that rattled but did not break, about a conversation that finally learned to breathe, about someone who said thank you and meant I see you. I listen with my hands around heat. I did not earn, but will keep warm for both of us. If we speak, let it be low and certain, like light committing to wood. Let it soak in and last. I remember my grandfather's table, where every scratch was a story he refused to send away. Tonight our voices leave the kind of marks future us will be glad to touch. keep a copy of us. Smudges of laughter, a neat circle where worry once sat and then stood up to leave. We will step into the street, coated in something that is not armor, but weatherproofing. We will smell like vanilla and resolve. The night may test us with wind, it changes direction twice before deciding, but our edges will hold. And if we return tomorrow, and I hope we do, the tables will remember our names by the way we set our hands down, gently, surely, ready to make one more soft shine.
An apricot lamp holds the room together. The way a warm hand steadies a story. Its peel-off light sweetens the edge of the table, turns the menu into a gentle promise, and persuades the sugar to behave like snow in slow motion. We sit where the color forgives everything, mistakes and timing, too loud days, names we said to ourselves when we were tired. Your voice is a cardigan for my thoughts, buttoning what the world left open. The bass warms the floor from underneath. The snare draws small circles of patience you can step into and not sink. We trade weather reports written in feelings you say, mostly kind with flurries of doubt, and I say clearing after gentle conversation. The lamp nods an understanding fruit. Beyond the glass, a bus exhales and gathers itself. Someone runs, some run, decides not to inside. We practice staying, we try the sentence. We are enough in a few fonts until one fits the page of the hour. You tell me about a fear that shrank in warm light, a call you made that did not end the world, a window you opened that let in courage disguised as ordinary air. I tell you about a time I believed noise because it was loud, and how I'm learning to believe quiet because it is true. The lamp makes a small cathedral of our elbows and cups. We are not praying exactly, but we do want to be changed into people with steadier hands. The record crackles like old bread that still smells good. The barista cleans a counter the way a friend edits a paragraph, removing what doesn't help, leaving the style intact. If the door rings, let the lamp answer. It speaks our dialect of slow. The shade wears fingerprints from others who tilted it toward comfort. We had ours and feel inducted into a low ongoing choir. When we finally stand, the light comes with us In the way people say a fragrance follows, really it is a decision to be the same species of gentle in places less prepared for it. Apricot follows us down the block like a sunrise we borrowed. We will return it tomorrow, brighter than we found it.
Let's bend the blue spoon of midnight and stir a slow orbit into our cups. The piano flips its hat and winks, the bass saunters like a cat through chairs that treat every passerby with soft respect. You tell a story with secret doors, and every hinge is oiled in cinnamon. I follow gladly, a tourist with no agenda, but wonder drums brush crumbs into constellations, and we give them names, not to own them, but to remember where we were when kindness spelled itself without help. The city peers and decides to behave, and we reward it with one more round of hush. If the night breaks, we'll glue it with laughter, hold till cured by dawn. I like the way your hands negotiate with gravity, setting the cup down as if the table might be startled. The table is grateful for the courtesy and promises to keep steady. We try bending a few more small things that never asked to be straight. Expectations that scraped us, timelines that mistook, sprinting for sincerity, the rigid thought that only noise gets noticed. Everything softens a little when warmed by regard. The spoon returns straight, a lesson learned without shame, blue as a tiny sky. You ask what I wanna do with what we found, I say let's spend it like a secret currency that buys room for breath. Let's pass it to strangers as change they didn't know they were owed. Let's go home at an honest pace, lights low, steps certain our shoulders, remembering the rhythm we borrowed from the brush on the ride. If anyone asks how we made the night so kind, we'll show them the spoon. They'll nod, not understanding, and later when a conversation threatens to splinter, they'll recall the blue and the bend and decide to stir instead of snap. That will be enough.
Someone parked the moon in your cup, and now your hands glow when you lift it. The light is gentle enough to keep secrets and brave enough to find the edges of our doubt. We sip tides in tiny sips and learn the shoreline of quiet, where to place a word so it won't fall, how to hold a look without gripping. Bowed bass rises like a silver tide, piano counts shells along the rim. Your name fogs the glass, I write mine beside it, small and sure, and they overlap like two circles agreeing on a truth. If gravity asks for its moon back, tell it we're almost done. We'll set it on the saucer, still warm, still bright, then carry the residue in our throats all the way home. Sometimes the world feels like a room with the lights let left on tonight. It feels like a porch where night sits with us and listens. I confess a few small aches that never auditioned for attention. You confess a hope you've been saving for a drought. The moon approves of both, enlarging the cup slightly so nothing spills. While we edit our courage, we practice the soft sport of not interrupting. We interrupt only to point at a comet outside the window, but it's just a bus and we love it anyway for trying. We make a list of things that do not need to be perfect to be dear. The pen book in your bag, the chip saucer that learned history the hard way. My habit of counting breaths when a song begins, because I don't want to miss the place where the singer lets go and trust. When the cup cools, the moon stays a patient coin. We tip it into the sink like a donation and step into a night we can afford. Overhead, the real moon seems unbothered that we practice with a smaller one. It follows us a few blocks, then finds someone else who needs a soft light. We are not jealous, we are luminous enough.
Steam draws Jasper veins through the air, stone steady lines in a soft city that melts its edges at night. You lean on the counter like a lighthouse, guiding my small boat of thoughts through an easy channel toward shore. Sax paints the window with patient rainbows that appear and vanish, as if memory were practicing gentleness. The bass keeps the harbor from spilling, the brushes tell the docks to breathe. We list reasons to linger, and the list grows long and kind. Because chairs learn our posture and forgive it, because names soften when spoken less loudly, because the record knows when to be the room and when to be the background of the room. If a storm rattles the glass, we offer the sky a stool. It sits and calms down. We pour it the kind of listening that adds sugar without a spoon. Your shoulders relax one vertebra at a time, like a zipper descending from worry into weather. I match them click for calm click. We speak of departures that respected us and arrivals that did not. We decide to be both for each other tonight. The respectful leaving of what hurts, the gracious coming of what helps. When the barista wipes a circle on the counter, a small halo appears. You put your cup there and it fits like a story, finding its right ending. We do not applaud, we we nod by the time the lights dim, and the bell nicknames our exit. The harbor has made a map of us, two buoys that blink in alternating kindness, a channel dredge just enough for second chances, a lighthouse that runs on inside jokes and paid bills. When the door closes, the steamline holds as if the room will remember the path our breath took on the sidewalk. The cool air makes a new rainbow on your scarf. We follow that instead of a plan. It leads home.
Overcoat writes sonnets across the chair, EMs of wool and winter light that keep the stanzas shape even when you laugh. I edit the lines with fingertip commas, and you approve with a nod that turns the page softly. Cello leans into the margin of the hour. Piano fills the stanza with amber where meaning might have been, but does not need to be tonight. We read each other aloud quietly, turning pages with breaths the way librarians close windows before a kind rain. If rhyme appears, let it. We earned an easy couplet. If a slant rhyme refuses to settle, let it lean against the sugar bowl until it learns. The waiter places a full stop at the table next to ours. Their conversation ends kindly, ours in gems spills line to line without complaint. I confess a metaphor that never worked. You confess a simile that wore out its welcome. We agree not to force comparisons that don't wanna be friends. Outside, the street revises its draft with water. Inside, our voices choose the present tense because it fits. You try on the final couplet around your shoulders. It feels like a shawl that belonged to someone brave. We talk about what to title this chapter, if chapters still matter. You suggest arriving without leaving, and I suggest coats that remember. We compromise on staying gently when it is time to go. Wrap me in the last line, let the period be a kiss, soft enough to be mistaken for breath. The bell rhymes with itself and nobody minds. We step into a night that scans iambic but walks free, and the coat remembers the poem even after we forget, which is how memory and fabric make a pact to keep us warm where grammar can. A trumpet with verde edgements, the room stitch by stitch of brass and breadth. sigh like old jackets told they still look good. The clock nods along, unafraid of late. Your smile comes unbuttoned at the corners, and I fold it back with cinnamon fingers. We practice the grammar of hush, commas of steam between us, and nothing has to be louder than necessary. Bass carries our names across the floor. The piano sweeps a lane of light. Tonight goodbyes arrive, but we give them decaf and they calm down, forget the time and decide to stay for one last soft chorus. I watch the trumpet hesitate at a seam, then push the needle of sound through and pull tight. The rip closes and a patch of quiet holds. We talk about places where the fabric of our days thinned, and how music laid a lining under them. You say you used to hide the worn spots, I say I kept picking at mine. We laugh without cruelty at our past, tailoring outside wind tests the windows for stories inside. We answer with thread pulled from patience. Each note is a knot that knows when enough is enough. When the set ends, the player wipes the bell as if blessing a tool used to make a house out of air. We leave a tip heavy as gratitude and light as relief on the sidewalk. The night wears us comfortably. If it frays tomorrow, we know where to sit and let brass be needle, breath be thread, and time be cloth. We're allowed to keep repairing forever.
The café keeps a small flame for late wanderers, a pilot light waltzing beneath the counter, where even the pipes remember the steps. We move our cups in soft circles, 3 sips to a turn, 2 smiles to a step, and the room sways like a polite dance partner who always hears the music first. Vibes drop silver petals on the table, piano hums, the floorboards awake. Your gaze tilts the world into slow motion, and my heartbeat learns to count again. If the world knocks with heavy shoes, we'll dance it soft or shoehorn it into velvet. The door opens and closes like a breath practice and poise. I admit I've been clumsy with my hours, spilling them on sharp corners. You admit you've been careful in ways that hurt. We agree to trade small lessons. I'll learn your gentler grip, you'll learn my permission to twirl. The barista turns the record and the new song fades. fits like a sleeve. We step into it and it forgives our elbows. You tell me the first dance you learned was standing on your parents' feet. I tell you mine was pretending. The kitchen tiles were notes. We show each other how those steps matured without growing complicated. Outside the street forgets its rush for a verse. Inside we turn, we breathe. We do not apologize for grace that has to practice. When the waltz ends, pretend we didn't hear. Let the needle forget its errands. Tonight we spin on gentle hinges, coats swaying like friendly doors. And the flame stays saying yes in a language even dark understands.
Because maps improve when revisited, we return to the counter with the pencil freshly kind. The barista loans us a ruler made of patience, and we plot the places we missed. A peninsula of second thoughts we will not colonize. A bay where compliments safely anchor a straight connecting here to later that recommends slack tide. You list the languages our hands speak, carry, keep, let go, and I add translate, which is what a look does to a worry, so it can be understood. By mercy we revise the legend. A dot means pause, 2 dots mean promise, 3 dots mean we can stay until the bell smiles. The triangle marks the lamp that saved us. The river still begins under my collarbone and empties into your palms, but now we trace tributaries through ordinary hours, brushing teeth, kindly writing emails that do not pretend urgency, allowing the sink to be full without calling it failure. The atlas grows more useful the less it pretends to be exact. When we fold it this time, the creases align with our lifelines, which is a kind of cartography the world forgot. We slide the map under the counter for the next gentle travelers. We leave our names small in one corner, not as owners but as witnesses. It is possible to navigate by softness and still arrive.
The city shrinks to a plate of lights, crumbs of brass on a velvet street, where footsteps are the only punctuation that counts. We carve our initials in the steam and let them melt into something true. Trumpet peels stickers off the night, leaving clean glass for our reflections. Piano taps the window like a polite reporter, taking notes on kindness. Bass count steps to the door and back, choosing to stay every time. traffic begs for attention, we offer it a seat and a softer voice. A courier drops a package of tomorrow at the corner. No signature required. We decide to open it later when our hands are less full of now. A cyclist laughs in a minor key. A dog edits the sidewalk with joy. We agree not to call anything small if it is vivid. By closing time, the lock learns our names, and the bell becomes a friend who doesn't always need to talk. We leave the city small and sweet, pocketing one quiet block to keep. Later at the apartment door, we take it out and set it on the shelf beside faces we love and notes we meant to write. It glows faintly, a souvenir that refuses to collect dust because we keep using it. When the morning bus sighs under our window, the brass crumbs in the jar wink, and we remember how to season the day. A dash of patience, a pinch of humor, one generous grind of listen. The street outside takes a breath we can hear. We step into it like a chorus, entering on